Triple A, credits alright. Hang up the phone and let your heart break on the interlay. 24 twice. She's on the phone, but she's staying on Wilshire Boulevard. Old dreams dying hard.
10 seconds to go. 24-23 Saints. Vikings at their own 39. It's third down. Three receivers right, Thielen left. Marshawn Lattimore 12 yards from Adam. Case on a deep drop. Steps up in the pocket. He'll fire to the right side. Caught by Diggs. Stay up. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. 30. No way. Touchdown. Are you kidding me? It's a Minneapolis miracle. Stephon Diggs and the Minnesota Vikings have walked up on the New Orleans Saints. It's a 61-yard Minneapolis miracle.
I can't believe what I just saw, Paul Allen. What an unbelievable play.
Breathing in the dark, weightless, working hard. Want you to return.
Hello, Minnesota sports fam. Welcome to No Shirts, Just Skins, a Minnesota sports fan podcast. I am your host, Eric Strock. I am here with my co-host, Brandon, and the one and only Johnny Minnesota is joining No Shirts, Just Skins today. Brandon, Johnny, how you doing?
Doing well. Nice to actually finally meet you, man.
Yeah, absolutely. It feels good to be back in the podcast studio, away from the keyboard for the afternoon. I'm excited, man.
Yeah, our site is going without any writing on it today because Johnny pretty much takes care of all of that, and he's podcasting with us instead.
This is far more important. We got the biggest game of our entire lives.
Absolutely.
Coming tomorrow.
Priorities.
Exactly.
I figured Johnny would rather come and talk some football than type about football.
Yep.
Anyways, as we were saying, we are how many hours now? What time does the game start tomorrow? At 4:40?
I don't know. It's an eternity away.
5:40. I think we're 25 and a half hours out.
So basically an entire lifetime away yet.
An entire lifetime away from another one of the biggest games.
And then after that, after we come out victorious, then we got to wait 2 whole weeks.
Yes.
Like, what am I going to do for 2 weeks?
Well, wouldn't you rather have that be the problem than
having to, obviously waiting a whole year.
Find something to do. I mean, the Super Bowl's here, man.
That's true. That's a good point. Yeah, I guess I forgot about that. I'll probably just spend my entire time downtown drinking, try to take in every festivity I possibly can.
Well, that would be the thing too. And they were kind of talking about that on the radio the other day, because a lot of people talk about how the NFL would want 2 away teams playing, that it's going to lose them money if the Vikings play in it. And obviously their point is that people come from outside, they stay in hotels, they go to the Mall of America, they spend a bunch of money. But Ben Lieber was talking on KFan about how that's just absolute nonsense. He said every Minnesotan is going to be there all 2 weeks instead of just coming for the Super Bowl like an out-of-towner would, where they just come for a few days. So you're going to have, well, I can't go to the game, but I want to be a part of the experience, so I'm taking my kid from Hibbing. I'm taking my kid from Thief River Falls. I'm taking, they're coming from all over Minnesota to at least spend a couple days just to, take in the atmosphere. And I thought that was a pretty good point, because I was thinking that the NFL would lose money with the Vikings Super Bowl, too.
And if the Vikings lose tomorrow, knock on wood, it's not going to happen, but Minnesotans wouldn't want anything to do.
Oh, no. I'm going to lock myself in some cellar somewhere with no windows or doors or anything, and I'm going to sit there in silence and darkness for the next 6 months.
I don't think you'd be the only one. I think that just about every Vikings fan in Minnesota would be doing the same exact thing as you. So let's talk about. We came in. We listened to the Paul Allen clip, which is obviously another classic Paul Allen clip that'll live in infamy forever. On the touchdown call to Diggs. Some people, if you watched our video, which now has over 100,000 views on Facebook.
Nice job on that, by the way. Touche.
Thank you.
I was actually upset with you when you were putting that video together. I'm sitting there. I'm like, this game is far from over. I do not feel good about things right now. I am upset. Like, why did I want to catch one of the lowest points in my life? Like, I might get up and start smashing things, breaking things. The entire world would think I'm absolutely psycho, and probably for good reason. I'm like, and you're going to put this video together. Let's document that.
Brandon was when I sat that my phone up to record us underneath the TV. Brandon goes, what are you doing with that? Is that not to record? And I go, yeah, you never know. And it was one of those moments that I've had a few times with him in this website where he wants to look at me and go, you're a fucking idiot. Don't do anything like what you're trying to do. But instead, he just gave me the eyes because he knew, like, all right, he's doing this for the website. If I say anything, he's going to get upset. So I'm just going to let him do his thing.
And luckily, I wasn't feeling great. I was a little under the weather. So, like, I was kind of struggling just to kind of stay energetic. So I'm like, I don't have the energy to even fight him right now with this. I'm like,
took one for the team. I appreciate it, man.
What he didn't show in the videos after our first field goal, he jumps on me and I like push him off. I'm like, get off of me. This game is not over. I'm like, get off of me. Stop it.
I know. I didn't remember watching that part too. I didn't remember. And what
my annoyance wasn't. I wasn't cleared yet. I was like, oh, you got to be kidding me.
And then everybody missed it too. But we've talked about this. Your roommate yelled at me for jumping on the couch after I jumped off of your back.
No, he didn't.
That was the moment that like brought us like back to reality. Where it was like, oh my God, we're actually still on Earth. We're not. We're still on the ground. I am at Brandon's house. Like it was that moment where everything came back to reality, and it was of your roommate telling me to not to ruin his couch.
Is he not a Vikings fan or what's?
No, he was excited too. He just he was just upset. He's like there because Jake jumping around, and he gets a little bit wild. So I kind of see he's probably afraid that he's gonna start knocking things over.
Yep.
He's gonna be
totally
taking out the wall, and
it was funny in the moment just because.
It was like the defining of like exactly like it brought you back down. Yes, cloud nine. All of a sudden, you're like, oh yeah, this is still real life.
Yes, it's the first moment that I realized like that I'm still in normal.
Did you guys have the like after the play? Like I'm looking for a flag. I'm thinking like there's got to be. This doesn't happen in Minnesota, so I'm thinking there's got to be like something's gonna take this back. There's gonna be a flag. I even woke up the next morning. It's like, is that still real? Like. Is there going to be some type of scandal that's going to take this game away from us? Like this, fortunately, like this just doesn't happen in Minnesota.
Well, and that's the best part. That's one of the parts of the video. After I jump on your back, right before it cuts out, you can hear me yelling, "No flags, no flags, no flags."
That was my first reaction when I saw it. When I retweeted it, I captioned it, "No flags, no flags."
Yeah, you did.
All the way, you had to.
Yeah, that's
make
all.
sure.
You're just waiting. Like you're waiting for a flag. Like there's no way that this can stand. Like, is this really? Are we going to break the curse? Like, are we going to be on the other side of this coin for once?
Yes, we are.
It was.
And here we are.
It was just an unbelievable moment, and it was so funny, and that's why, like you said, no flags, no flags. You quoted it when I put the first video on Twitter because that's what you were thinking too.
Yep.
And that's what everybody across Minnesota was thinking, no flags, no flags, no flags. But it wasn't just that. And that's why I think everybody loves the video so much. I didn't just, like most reaction videos, they caught the play, right?
Right.
But I had set it up right when the fourth quarter started. And so I got all of it leading up to it. And it really showed how everybody in Minnesota was reacting as it was all taking place.
Just this complete moment of shock. Like
it wasn't pretty.
Wow.
But not even, but not even that moment. But leading up to it, like that's what the other reaction videos didn't have, was where we had it leading up, and everybody as they're watching our video,
walking away from the camera and going, God, just walking down the field, just surgical, just picking us apart, of course. And then the big fourth down, where it's like, no, that's it.
That's what made ours so much different, and I think that's what people loved about it so much is they're watching that, and even the comments is like they're tagging their friends and going, "This is us. This was us when we were in that moment," and it was so perfect.
Did anybody happen to watch your reaction videos from Saints fans?
I didn't watch that, but I saw a few.
Oh, there's one that was like
either.
There was one that was like 30 minutes long, and it was awesome. There was this Saints fan wearing these gloves, and he was literally just the biggest tool ever. And you're watching, he's talking to everybody.
He had the gloves on for the game?
Yeah, he was indoors.
Okay.
Was it? You said tool. Was it Sean Payton?
God, he wasn't quite that sharp of a tool. But he was still definitely a hustle tool you'd use, just not
Right. More
not
like
the biggest tool in the shed.
Okay.
more like a butter knife to Sean Payton's steak knife.
Yeah, or
Right.
I would give Sean Payton more of a freaking massive shovel or
Machete.
the biggest tool that I don't ever want to use in the yard. But yeah,
Good point.
But
good
it was
point.
great because
The
you
skull-
you
the
watch
skull
him.
chant
Oh,
to the
God, I
to
hate
our
that
crowd.
douche.
The best.
But you watch this video and, you just see them, they're excited, they're pumped up, and all of a sudden, as that play happens, you can just literally see the life drain out of them, and it was spectacular. It was one of the greatest feelings of my entire life. Because I, like all of us, I hate the Saints more than any other team in the entire world. I hate Sean Payton. I hate Drew Brees. I mean, there's just nothing about that franchise that I like. Like, again, ever since 2009, I absolutely despise him. And then, yeah, Sean Payton mocked the skull chant. Weeks before that, he was mocking Devonta Freeman and giving him a choke sign. Like, the guy's just trash. He's garbage.
Oh, that's who the choke sign was to. Okay.
Yeah,
I saw
yep.
the picture, but I didn't know what it was relating to.
Yep. And then after during the press conference, he's like, "Oh, I don't recall. I don't remember doing that." It's like, of course you don't. Shocking.
Yeah, shocking. But he did at least he did admit. Was that the skull chant right
Yeah.
away that he said no? He did admit down the road.
He admitted like
later on in the week.
Tuesday or Wednesday this week. He admitted it was all in good fun or whatever. It's like, no, it wasn't.
Yeah, it was all in good fun once everybody actually had video evidence of you doing it.
Right.
Then it was all in good fun. But before that, he was denying everything because
Exactly.
that's just who he is. I'm trying to find there was one reaction that I thought was just so priceless, and then he talked about it today. Yesterday when he was on K-Fan with I believe it was with Barrero, but it was Ben Lieber, and he was doing the sideline analyzing during the game.
Okay.
Yep.
And so Paul Allen went to him afterwards.
Didn't Lieber say that he saw it and he was surprised that there wasn't more video evidence showing it?
Well, yeah, but I'm talking about just Ben Lieber's reaction to the miracle.
Oh, I got you.
Because he even said, and I'm gonna pull it up here in just a minute if I can find it, but he even said today that he couldn't believe, like, listening back to his reaction. Once you hear it, you'll know what I'm talking about. He couldn't believe, he didn't know that he cared that much. And he even, because he's not part of the team anymore,
Yeah.
and he didn't even realize that he cared about the Saints' loss that much, because in the moment he brings up the Saints, and to do it against the Saints, and then he gives a Ric Flair woo.
Nice. Icing on the cake.
Yeah, so I'm trying to find it. I'm gonna try and find that. But while I'm doing that, what else stuck out to you as far as the game in general went? Obviously, the miracle in Minnesota was intense. It was one of the greatest moments of any Minnesota sports fans' lives. But what did it, like, take me through where you guys were at as we went through the game, and then as we went into the second half, and like where you guys were as far as being Minnesota sports fans and seeing something like that unfold a million times.
Well, first half, I was all teeth, never been happier. I thought life was fantastic. I was sitting pretty easy, and then about midway through the third quarter, I was thinking of the highest, closest, nearest bridge I can jump from. Yeah, that was, I guess, the roller coaster of emotions right there. And then, yeah, once the miracle happened, it was just astonishment, disbelief, like to the point of I couldn't. I think even the video, all I do is I just jump up, raise my hands, like I'm like, this can't be real. Like, what the hell just happened?
It was beautiful.
Yeah, and I've been walking around with a chubby all week long since. It's a perma boner, it just doesn't go away.
A lot more than 4 hours. You might want to check out the doctor.
Yeah,
for that
I
one.
spoke about that, but this is something I don't want to go. I hope to carry this on another 2 weeks, and then maybe even another 6 months after we win the
Right.
Super Bowl.
Let's go.
And what about you, Johnny? Take us through your thoughts.
Yeah, I was
during
the first half 100% with Brandon, probably overly confident. It just started off as good as it could have. Panic in the third, panic early in the fourth, and then at some point the panic just turned to depression.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was.
You started
It was
to
like-
almost accept it. It was like, I don't know if accept it, but it just, Minnesota sports fans, you think the inevitable might be coming in that large of a situation. And
Yeah, you nailed it. I mean, it went from panic. There was never anger. It was panic
Right.
to, yep, I've been here before.
Right.
Like, it was almost, yeah, you turned to acceptance, depression and acceptance at the same time. Like, well.
Exactly. And I was actually, it doesn't matter now, but I was pissed. I don't think, when we got the first down on the drive we kicked the go-ahead field goal, I don't think the Saints should have ever gotten the ball back in that whole situation. We went pass.
Yep.
The next three plays. One of them was a completion to Rudolph, but it was 5 yards, and he went out of bounds. So
Yeah, so
I was depressed, pissed about that.
Yeah, I thought our play calling in the second half, both offensively and defensively, was a little bit questionable at times.
Right.
Defensively, I think that we were uber conservative. I mean, I know that one, Drew Brees is Drew Brees, but it's like we didn't really blitz. We were rushing for the entire time, and it's like it worked in the first half for the most part, but we didn't get we didn't get creative. Usually the foundation, the staple of Zimmer's defense is creativeness, and
right.
You have the other team off guard at all times where they don't know where the pressure's coming from, but we just kind of played conservative. Like, we played not to lose. We're like, we have a lead.
Exactly.
Well,
That's what I was just going to say.
Let's just not lose it. We've got a great defense. They shouldn't be able to score, but they walked down the field.
Yeah.
And then you throw that tough interception and then the blocked punt. Like, we did almost everything we possibly could do to almost give that game away, but it's also telling that we overcame all of that, too, and still won. It just goes to show how good of a team we are. And Nick Foles. Let's get real. Nick Foles isn't going to pick us apart like Drew Brees did. You can have your 1 and 2 little, yard check downs and dump offs and stuff like that, but he's not going to push the ball downfield and beat us.
Like you said, Brees was surgical.
He
methodical.
Was. I mean, there's a reason he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. That's just all there is to it.
And then I guess at the end, once the touchdown happened, shock, maybe blackout moment for me for a second. I don't really know what occurred.
Yeah, I don't know.
When we knew the flags weren't there, we knew it was over. It was straight up euphoria.
It feels like it broke the curse. Like, it's like you feel like you got the weight of the world off your shoulders. Like, wait a minute, this can happen. Like, we're not going to be the most cursed franchise forever, right? I mean, the Red Sox won a World Series, the Cubs won a World Series. Why can't we win a Super Bowl?
Exactly.
It kind of makes you feel like that, but at the same time, if there were going to be a classic Minnesota letdown, this would almost happen just to let us down afterwards. But we won't talk about that. We might.
The fall's harder when you're up high.
Right.
Okay, I got you.
But I found, while you guys were chatting, I found Ben Lieber's clip.
Let's hear it.
And this is just the best. Here we go.
Lieber, you were with the Minnesota Vikings in 2009, where granted it was week 3 when Brett Favre found Greg Lewis back right of the end zone for the oh my heavens moment. Have you, at any level of play, ever seen anything like we just saw?
Never! And I love it that we did it against the Saints! Woo!
It was Stephon Diggs. If you missed it, the Minnesota Vikings were down
I want to rewind
to
that
their
back.
last gasp.
Woo! I just love it because you never Lieber. Before we run this back, if you've ever listened to Lieber on K-Fan, he's like the most like laid back, analytical thinking,
always
like,
in control. It seems
right.
Like.
Always in control. And then when the whole thing goes down, this is how it goes.
Back right of the end zone for the oh my heavens moment. Have you, at any level of play, ever seen anything like we just saw?
Never! And I love it that we did it against the Saints! Woo!
It was Stephon Diggs. If you
You think he despises the Saints still after all these years?
Well, that's what was so funny, and I mean, it took me forever while you guys were talking just to find that clip, let alone go and try and find it on iHeartRadio about what he was saying about that moment. But yeah, it was so funny because he even said, he goes, I didn't know that I cared that much.
Oh, you know it has, because that's got to chap him after all these years, because you had such a good team. I mean, that was another team that felt like a team of destiny in so many ways, too. And the way it all went down, wasn't it Lieber that called for the phantom pass interference? He wasn't within 5 yards of the dude?
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he got called for the pass interference. And it's funny, when I made that video, I went and I was looking at the 09 moments, and the pass interference wasn't quite as phantom as we like to remember it being.
I'm going to remember the way I want to.
But what happened was
there were also some challenges and a fumble. There's all kinds of things.
The whole game.
It
but
was.
What happened was they were both running, and he was side by side. It was kind of like the Diggs play where he got called for pass interference, where they were running side by side, and then all of a sudden the tight end or whoever it was fell. And so it almost looked like he pushed him over when he really didn't. So it was kind of like one of those deals, just like Diggs when he got against the Saints earlier on in the game. But
I'm okay. I'm over it because I know that the NFL's rigged, and I know that they're on the Vikings side now. Because if you look at any Google advertisement, NFL advertisement, they're all leaking. It's all Patriots versus Vikings. So we basically already have this. Our name's already etched in that trophy.
Yeah, that's a good point.
The NFL's on our side for once. They're on the good guys' side.
We deserve it.
We do.
For once.
They owe it to us at this point. They probably owe us more than this.
Yeah, right. I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more.
So yeah, it feels good just knowing the destiny. I mean, we'll still go play the game tomorrow and all that, but I mean, it's already
It's a
a foregone
formality.
conclusion. Yeah, it's just a formality. It's a foregone conclusion. We're in the ship.
Yeah, and okay, so let's switch gears a little bit.
All right, you want to bench Case again? Is that where you're going to this?
Sam or Teddy, Eric?
No, Case will be on my ass cheek at the end of this week.
I can't wait, especially after last week when you kept giving me "I told you so, I told you so." We'll never win with this guy. We should have benched him weeks ago, like
So
I mentioned.
Where's that footage?
It's exactly he's able to selectively decide what he wants to include and not include.
That's so untrue.
Well, you even heard it before we jump in the podcast. He goes, "I was ready to give you guys are all going to be sucking my dick because I told you guys this shit for weeks. I told you we can't win
You
with
take
it."
everything out of context.
Did you not say that?
And what else did I say?
Did you say it?
You said you'd be sad, but you'd be gratified and happy that you proved everyone wrong again.
Now that's a lie. I sat there and said I would be crying the whole time. It'd be the worst. It'd be the worst BJ of all time. I'd just be crying just profusely.
But it'd also be the first one you've gotten in a long time.
Touche. But just like the Vikings did earlier this week, we have to, as fans, for now, find a way to move on from the Minneapolis Miracle or the Minnesota Miracle or whatever you want to call it, and start to move forward and look at the Eagles, because at the end of the day, the Minneapolis Miracle will, no matter what, live in infamy. It'll be one of the greatest plays of all time. But it'll never be the same if we don't end up
No, it means
winning
absolutely
it all.
nothing. If we don't win it all, it means nothing. Let me give you guys this question. I was talking to a buddy about this earlier. Mm-hmm. So come this week, say we win this, or after we win this game, would it hurt more to lose in the Super Bowl or lose this week?
I think the Super Bowl might hurt more.
That's what I said. I said the Super Bowl would hurt more, but it'd also feel like you got the monkey off your back. Like,
Right.
okay, we can do it. Like,
At least you went.
Yeah,
Right.
we can advance past this NFC Championship game that's plagued us for so many years as well. I mean, you look at, obviously, the Atlanta game. You look at the Giants game where you got smoked 41-0. And then you look at 2009 with Brett Favre. Like, just getting past this, I mean, obviously I'm not satisfied. I want it all, and I think we will win it all. But,
Right.
yeah, just getting past this, it's like you get that monkey off your back. Like, okay, we can get there. And knowing that we've got such a bright future still, too. But, yeah, losing the Super Bowl would hurt.
To answer I think it would hurt more right in the moment. But if we happen to somehow lose tomorrow, that 2 weeks leading up to the Super
I
Bowl
won't even
would
be able to
so
watch the Super
fucking
Bowl.
brutal,
And
right?
then it'll ruin all the festivities.
How long that would stretch out. So I don't know. It's a different type of hurt, different length of hurt, but
Well, I think
I'm not trying to mess around for those 2 weeks thinking about what could have been.
No, at the same time, that would be a fun 2 weeks that it's like, can you imagine just watching every sports outlet, every news outlet,
Right, I
everything
love
would
it.
be Vikings. I mean, I would have to think that even most jobs, corporations in Minnesota basically shut down for 2 weeks and just understand that my employees either are not going to show up or they're going to come in and extremely hungover, and they deserve to be. I want to be joining them.
Right.
Well, and I think Johnny makes a good point beyond the 2 weeks. Like, if we make it to the Super Bowl, like you said, right afterwards, if we were to lose, would be just devastating. Right. I mean,
But could you imagine trying to listen to coverage for the next 2 weeks if we're not going?
Exactly.
but it's not just the next 2 weeks. It's going forward after that. Like, if we lose this game,
I wouldn't make it.
if we lose if we lose this game, then it's right back to same old Vikings. Can't make it past the NFC Championship. If you can even ever get there, you can't get past there. Same old curse.
Took
same
a
old
miracle
everything.
play to get there, and
Yeah.
you still
Right.
couldn't get it done.
If we make it to the Super Bowl, then 3 months from now, yeah, we're upset we didn't make a Super Bowl, but
we've lost that stigma.
Exactly.
If we lose this game, it's like that stigma is stronger than ever. And
Yes.
it's going to be more pronounced. I mean, everybody around the nation is going to be talking, but we already get hated on all the time. Like, oh, it's a team that can't make it or blows it or finds a way to lose. So it was like, yeah, it would erase that stigma to some degree that we could, we finally just get rid of that curse.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, and that's kind of the way I see it too. I would rather go Super Bowl and then bust. But at the same time, it kind of depends. I mean, if Tom Brady somehow doesn't play tomorrow,
Oh, and we get
and it's Jacksonville But at the same time, how cool would it be? We're talking about.
I want to play the Patriots because I'd want to play Tom Brady. It'd be an iconic Super Bowl. I feel like if we win the Super Bowl against the Jags, it'll almost come with an asterisk of some sort. It'll be like it'll be like the forgettable Super Bowl that happened.
Yes, yeah, forgettable Super Bowl.
Not for Minnesota.
Not for Minnesota.
That rings a ring.
That rings a ring. I'll still take it.
I totally understand where you're coming from, but from my point of view, if Bortles can beat the Patriots tomorrow and I can sit here for 2 weeks and not have to worry about Tom Brady, Gronk, and that offense, Belichick, that whole mess, I'll take the Jags happily.
Yeah, no, I don't care who we're playing. I don't care if we got to beat Brian Hoyer for it.
Right.
It doesn't matter to me. A Super Bowl is a Super Bowl. But it'd be more memorable, more iconic to beat the Patriots.
For sure.
And if Tom Brady doesn't play, do we really believe anything the Patriots and Belichick say?
No, I mean, no.
You can wear gloves to the podium all you want and show it off and do all that stuff. But at the end of the day, Tom Brady's playing.
Yeah, well, and it's the thing for me is we're talking about redemption roads, right? And we went over it a little bit. If we would be playing Atlanta right now instead of Philadelphia after beating the Saints, right?
Yep.
The ultimate redemption road.
Oh, that would have been great. And playing at home where I would feel 10 times more confident again, too.
Right. Which would be great. But when we're talking about the Patriots, we're talking about the greatest dynasty in our modern age compared to arguably between us, the Bills, maybe Philly. Arguably the most self-destructive franchise in recent history, as far as not necessarily being run. We had our issues there with the Love Boat that's coming down a bar stool.
It's another topic.
But I mean, just self-destructing as far as
we're known as
hurting
kind of
yourself on when you have that chance.
Right.
We're a laughing stock, although we're a successful franchise.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
Yeah, we've had success through every decade we've ever played in, but we're the laughing stock because we find ways to lose games. Like, we're creative as could be to lose new games, especially when you're, a 15-1 team that I think we were like favored by like 10.5 points or something, which is unprecedented in an NFC championship game, and like things like that. Like, it's just we come up with new ways to blow things. And it's just,
that's what she said.
I was waiting for it.
But so here's the question. So, we talked. We just got done talking about which would hurt more, right? Making it to the Super Bowl. You know who would be interesting, and we can ask this question. I plan on bringing my new video camera
Nice.
to where I'm going to be watching the game with my friends and family from way back in the day tomorrow. And we're going to do some interviews, and I'll ask some of the older ones that same question. But what do you think somebody who watched us lose the Super Bowls and remembers them from the 70s, what would they say to that same exact question? Because they saw the heartbreak of the Super Bowls. And so they, like, for us, we just want to get there because we've never, ever, ever seen it. They've at least seen the Vikings in one.
Right.
For them, would it be the same thing as it is for us making it to the NFC Championship as making it to the Super Bowl but not winning?
But all of those people have experienced all the heartbreaks that we have in our generation too. So at that point, I feel like they've got to feel like we got to get this monkey off our back. Like, we can't advance.
Right, but that's what I'm saying is the monkey to them winning the Super Bowl because they remember the 4 that we made it to and didn't. So for us, the monkey is the NFC Championship. For them, is the monkey the actual Super Bowl.
For me, the monkey is just we have to win it, period. Because otherwise, no matter what happens, I'm sick of listening to all of these guys to the East.
The Packer fans, too.
those disgusting.
There is a
hateful,
monkey,
spiteful. Until we win a Super Bowl, they're forever, no matter what, any argument you have, because they're so unintelligent, uninformed. That
how many
Super Bowls have you won? What? How many Super Bowls have you won?
How many Lombardi trophies?
I don't care if we haven't beat you in 2 years. How many Super Bowls have you won?
Well, the funny thing is that they actually only learn how to count with how many Super Bowls they have. So that's why the Super Bowls are so important to people from Wisconsin, because you literally only know how to count however many Super Bowls you have. So right now they only know how to count to what, like 7 or 8 or something? I mean,
only one in the Rodgers era.
Right. And one in the Favre. Talk about wasting 2 unbelievable talents and getting 1 Super Bowl from each of them.
Yeah.
But damn it, then they'll just say that's,
well,
2 more than you guys
two
have.
more than you guys have. How many Super Bowls have you guys won?
Exactly. That's just, that would be the classic argument. Let's, now that we've kind of set the stage, a little bit.
Do you guys like my retarded? Can I say that on the air?
Sure, you can say whatever you want.
My retarded depiction of a Packers fan. That's the way I hear him in my head. I feel like that's how they all sound, right?
That is how they all sound. I thought you actually played a recording of one.
I'm just a phenomenal actor.
Yeah, well, there you go.
When the lights are on, he's ready to go.
We've gone for a half hour already.
Really?
Wow.
We're gonna catch a quick break, and then we'll come back and we'll talk actual matchups. We'll get into a little bit more of the nitty gritty of the game itself.
Okay.
And so
Are you gonna give us your take on why Case Keenum should be benched right now for us to have a chance? Or are you over that yet?
I don't know. I guess you'll have to wait and see. See, I know how to tease things. All right, we'll be back.
I could be happy in California. I would be fine with just me and you. Now don't go changing your heart. We gotta keep the blue.
Up in the sky. Super rad.
Yeah. Ryan DC mode versus make a wish for a purpose. Purpose to practice the rap until I emerge perfect. Flawless victory psychic. Kick like bicycle circus. Flow can I do my thinking. Dang it, lang it till it's purple. All the whole of my circus. City slipping like juggers. Rubbing for much to murder. Checkers and Reddit's burgers.
Welcome back, Minnesota sports fam. If you weren't with us for the first segment and you decided that you just skipped to the second segment because you didn't think the first segment would be any good, first off, go back and listen again because the first segment was good. Second off, I am Eric. I'm here with Brandon. I'm here with Johnny Minnesota, and we are talking Vikings versus Eagles. Well, actually, we just got done talking Vikings versus Saints.
I feel like you're off your game today because generally you have about 45 different accolades and titles and things that you put behind your name, and you haven't done any of that yet today.
Give yourself a shout
You're
out.
right. You're right.
Yeah, usually every week, I mean, you're sitting here, you're almost Googling new titles and things like that you can apply. And this week, I mean, you haven't even
And
put
I
anything.
even added a new title over the week.
Shocking.
I
Weird.
know.
Over the week, you add a new title every single day.
Yeah, but this one's a legitimate one now. I
okay.
now create legitimate hype videos and.
So what's that title then? What's it called?
Would you say digital executive producer?
So you actually haven't created it yet. You're trying to anoint yourself a new title.
I just made it up.
I see.
Digital executive producer sounds pretty official.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, not bad.
Yeah, so
I'm sure you'll add to it.
So Eric Strock, founder, editor, podcaster, digital executive producer, and builder of MinnesotaSportsFan.com.
There you go.
How's that?
There it is.
Yeah, you can find us on Twitter and Facebook at Real MN Sports Fan. Johnny writes most of our articles, almost all of them at this point, while I make videos and do some other things to try and push this site forward.
Look at him over. He's just pumping his own tires.
You can you can follow Johnny and all of his amazing writing at the Johnny MN, and I would highly recommend following him. Sometimes Johnny, I don't know if you know this, but I have notifications set for every time any of you guys tweet.
Yeah, I've noticed. Otherwise, you're living on Twitter and never doing anything outside of Twitter.
So
you're
either
saying refresh. No.
Sometimes I think he does.
And
He never responds to any of my tweets, though.
yeah, right. All those tweets that you have going.
Yeah.
And sometimes when Johnny's notifications pop up on my phone, it's one of those I have to do the double take because it never shows the picture. So you'll say something and I'll be like, oh, that one looks really good. I'll have to open it up just to see whatever picture GIF you put with it. But yes, follow Johnny on Twitter.
Yes.
He is quite the follow. Definitely worth it.
Have you gotten any Twitter wars lately?
No, not since I quit hating on Case Keenum and the Timberwolves started winning, so everybody else stopped hating on Tibbs. Those were my two biggest.
Quit hating on Case, or you started to just go silent on your hate towards Case?
No, things are, I don't know, unfolding exactly like I said they would.
What, we're winning and we advanced past the first round and here we're on our way to the Super Bowl?
That we would be relying on Case Keenum to get us through the playoffs and into the Super Bowl.
I've never felt better.
And that it's a scary thing, which last week was
Scary.
a scary thing. Those interceptions that he threw.
Interceptions? Now you're adding interceptions to a stat line? You're just trying to discredit. You're trying to just take away his credit any way you can. His interceptions. Did you see multiple interceptions?
I don't. Not that I recall.
No, like you use that as a plural term, but there's not a plural term. There was one bad interception.
His interception.
Did you watch a different game than I did? Maybe.
And the second half that he had, and even in the first half he was off. But then his big balls came out, and he made. Now everybody's gonna see that's not actually.
That's my recording of you. Sorry, I don't have it on video anymore, but it's everybody knows that you've been saying, you've had it on Twitter, you've had it on your articles, you've been calling for his head all year long. Ever since he slept with your wife, you've had a vendetta against him.
Well, wouldn't you?
No, I thought you.
No, at high five him, I'd be proud.
Right. Well, that's true. We did talk about that.
The Lord and Savior decided to. I mean, choose your
Marina
wife.
Strock project.
Exactly.
I
mean, you should feel fortunate.
I'll make sure my basement is nice and cold, about 55 degrees at all times. Mm-hmm. Homeschooling, but all of their math problems have to do with sports.
I can run some routes when we're, on breaks from working on the website and stuff like that to help out.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, you can run routes. We'll I'm not necessarily saying that he has to be a quarterback. I mean, the fact that Case Keenum's his father would help, but
right.
He might end up being, maybe he'll run routes and you'll have to throw to him. I'm not picking what position he has to play as long as he plays one.
Okay.
Would you say that at this point that you've been proven wrong now, or does he got to win this game yet too?
I would say that everything that I've said has been proven absolutely right. I would say that
what?
Here's what I
you
said.
Look at me like laughing the same thing. Like,
let him go. What do you got?
In all honesty, what I said was that Case Keenum, we were gonna end up having to rely on Case Keenum's not inaccuracy.
You said we would be going to the playoffs and be 1-0, and that you'd be telling everyone I told you so.
That's not what I said. I said,
and you said he's ruining your
I
season.
said his inability to be consistent was going to make or break the playoffs. And if he was going to be his inconsistent self like he's been all season, it could end up costing us a Super Bowl.
The best quarterback play we've had in 10 years.
And if he plays like the good Case Keenum, he can win us a Super Bowl because everything else on our team is set to do that. So it's up to him. And that was my point. I wasn't sure from the very beginning.
You said we need to bench him immediately and get someone in there.
I didn't trust him to make those winning plays, and thank God last week
he's a winner.
He
proved you wrong.
He did not prove me right because he would have proven me right if he wouldn't have made those last couple throws because
that was a great throw to Diggs and a great throw to Diggs again.
And that's kind of to get back and to be a little bit more serious. That's how Case Keenum needs to play in order for us to win and to win the Super Bowl, as in he needs to play with no worries. Like he needs those last two throws, he needed to make those throws or the game's over, right? So there is no I might throw an interception, I'm worried about it. He can't be like that. He needs to be like he was on those last two throws and the throw to Thielen.
I was just going to mention that everybody forgets about the throw to Thielen, but that was another big play too where Thielen they called 7 penalties in that play, and he still came up and made the catch. But the throw itself was right on the money again. On the run, under that pressure, that's a big time throw.
Yes, I agree. And he needs...
You take away that one interception, yes, it was a bad interception, but that's also almost kind of the same play type that he had that he completed to both, Diggs and Thielen, where he's running. But, you don't want to see him to make that throw, but take that away. And I've got really... Yeah, he seemed like he kind of had some jitters early in the game where he's a little bit conservative, but for the most part, I've got no problem with the way he played. If he plays like that every game, we should win.
But I think
our defense doesn't go into conservative mode and doesn't give up, the plays that it did in the second half.
Right.
And you take away that interception and then the blocked punt, but they had essentially 2 drives where they didn't have to go down the field. Like, now, if they've got to go down and start at their own 25 and march all the way down the field, they don't have enough time to put together those drives to go and score and take the lead. So, again, it was just a couple unfortunate incidents, but for the most part, I feel like if Case plays that way, we'll win.
Go ahead, Johnny, and then I got a point to make.
We don't need Case to win us the game tomorrow.
No,
he just can't lose us the game. Now the Patriots, if it's the Super Bowl, that's a whole different animal. But as for tomorrow's game, Case just can't fuck it up, and the defense will take care of itself, and I think we'll be fine. But
see, and that's I think more so in this game than even possibly in last game. It ended up being more the Case Keenum show, but I think it was more because we couldn't run the ball like we thought we were going to be able to. Mm-hmm. Philadelphia is, and I'll look up the stats here shortly, but I don't think Philadelphia is very good in the air compared to their defense on the run. So I would disagree with you in that I think Case Keenum needs to win us this game for us to win. I think that he is going to have to make big 3rd and 7 throws going down the stretch. We are going to need Case Keenum to make big throws.
Those are things he's been good at all year long. We don't need him to make big splash plays is kind of my thoughts, where it's like we don't need, I mean, I'll take them, but we don't need those big chunk 25, 30, 40-yard completions downfield. I feel like it's going to be just a conservative approach, a smart, efficient approach, because our defense we really shouldn't surrender many points, yards to Nick Foles.
No, I agree, but I worry about, because of what I saw early on in the game and what I've seen from him throughout the year, I think when he's inaccurate, when he's struggling with consistency, I think it's more of a mental thing and him not wanting to make that big mistake, because normally, not always, he's underthrown guys too, but normally when he misses guys, he overthrows them. If it's an out route, he throws it 2 yards or a yard too far towards the sideline, because I feel like...
He makes a safe throw
right,
rather than...
In my opinion, we will not win the game if he's playing like that. We need him to be confident in those throws when he's making them. What we don't need is him to panic when he's getting sacked or when he's about to be thrown down. To panic, take the sack, realize it's over, and move on. But when you are stepping into the throw and it's a smart throw, fucking deliver that throw where you want to deliver it. Don't be all worried, because that's what I worry about.
So you really don't trust him still?
No, it's the opposite of that. I think I trust him more than he trusts himself.
Whoa! Damn! I like that.
Here's what I'm saying is that he's good when he's stepping into his throws and he's delivering on target. He's consistent. He throws it on the money. Except for, I think, when he overthinks it and he's worried about throwing that interception. So for us to be successful, he needs to have more confidence and know he's going to hit that out route. Don't overthrow Diggs going.
You make it sound like he throws all these interceptions. This is the first interception I remember him throwing since Carolina.
It's the opposite of interceptions. To make sure he doesn't throw an interception, he's throwing it an extra 2 yards to the sideline on an outplay and missing Diggs early on in the game because he doesn't want to throw the interception. What I'm saying, know that you're not going to throw the interception and hit Diggs.
I love getting you fired up.
Don't throw it 2 yards to the outside, is what I'm saying. So that's my biggest thing.
I feel good knowing that we've got the second best quarterback in the entire playoffs right now. I feel great about things.
Well, that doesn't take much.
Well, I'm just saying, facts are facts. He's still the second best quarterback remaining in the playoffs at this point. We've got a distinct advantage.
Yeah, I agree. I think at the end of the day, it's going to come down to Case Keenum, and he's going to have to win the game for us tomorrow. So I think tomorrow I'm either going to be saying
I'm looking for a 20 for 30 stat line for right. 200 yards, 2 touchdowns, and no picks.
I'm either
if that happens, it's a wrap.
Yeah, that's
a solid stat line. I don't even think he needs to get.
I don't think he
near
even
that.
needs. Yeah, but I mean that's pretty much what he's been putting up. It's about he completes 67% of his passes for about 200 yards and generally 1 or 2 touchdowns, depending on what if we run one in, and then
right.
Very rarely does he have a turnover.
How many points you guys got the Eagles scoring tomorrow?
13.
Eric?
10.
Okay. So, I mean, still Keenum needs to win it for us if they're only going to score that many points.
That's where I disagree. It's like he just needs to be efficient.
Right.
Keenum is going
just can't lose it,
Keenum
is
is going
my
to have
opinion.
to throw a touchdown, or we're going to have to kick 4 field goals. We're not running in a touchdown against the Eagles defense, and we're not going to have over 75
Keenum will definitely
yards
throw
rushing.
for 1 touchdown,
We're-
or he'll get us down to the 2 or 3, and Latavius Murray will take the T train into the end zone.
No, he won't. I really don't think he will. I think that this running defense
with the crowd.
with the crowd, I really, if we can run the ball tomorrow, the game's over.
Oh, yeah.
The game is absolutely, if we get over 120 yards as a team tomorrow on the ground, which would be considered an okay game as a full team, right? Not just one running back, but a full team, 120 yards. If we get that, the game's over. We win.
Yeah, if we
Without a
run
doubt.
But you don't think that's going to happen, obviously, with your Keenum stat.
No, and that's why Zimmer said earlier on in this week that he thinks the team that runs better wins. But I don't think he's talking about the Vikings running better. I just think he knows that if the Vikings have more rushing yards at the end of the day than the Eagles, because that's all the Eagles have, and their rushing defense is one of the best in the NFL. So if we have more rushing yards than them at the end of the day, we're going to win. Because that means they did nothing on offense.
Right.
Literally nothing.
That makes sense.
And so I don't think he's saying that we need to run the ball really efficiently. That just shows how much he believes we need to stop their running game.
Oh, that's absolutely everything. I mean, if we have the luxury of putting the game in Nick Foles' hands, I think that we would take that all day long, every day.
Oh, and that's what Zim's drawn up.
That's exactly what he's drawing
Right.
up. That's what you have to draw up. I mean, if you look at what Foles has done, I mean, he has literally done absolutely nothing aside from
He sucks.
Yeah, he sucks.
Yeah, no,
Do you guys watch that Oakland Raiders game that they
Yes.
had like the Monday night? That's when I was like, okay, this guy is bad. And then last week, all they did is they drew up a bunch of 2-3 yard outs and little check downs and things like that, and they're able to run the ball.
They channeled their inner Pat Shurmur.
Yep, that's exactly what they did. Only the difference is we've
That's-
got a
yes,
defense that can
exactly.
tackle. Yeah, they channeled Pat Shurmur with Bradford and an awful offensive line.
Right.
Is what they did. They basically did what we had to do last year. Difference is our defense is so good that you can do it all day long, but we'll make those tackles. You're not going to go and get an extra 3, 4, 5 yards after each play to convert those first downs. We will make those tackles, and you'll be punting.
And they don't got much playmakers on the outside now. Alshon and Aguilar aren't scary. Ertz is solid.
Ertz is
as a
solid,
tight
but
end,
we've got linebackers that can cover
Yeah.
him. You look
It's
at
no
Alshon,
Kamara,
they
right.
don't have the burner. I mean, Torrey Smith is past his prime. Aguilar's turned into a good slot receiver, but again, you're not facing Drew Brees and Michael Thomas.
Exactly.
You're facing Nick Foles and whoever he can try to hopefully get the ball to.
Nick, I can't get past my first read Foles.
Exactly.
So
Yeah. And that's why I think it's really going to come down. It's going to come down to Case. I really think it's going to come down to Case because I don't think we're going to run the ball. I think that they're going to try and do the same thing that we're doing to Foles. Make Case Keenum beat us, which.
Oh,
I
do it all day
feel
long.
so much better
If you
than
can put the
that.
ball in an MVP candidate's hands and let him beat you, absolutely, I'm in.
If you can go, if you had to give me Nick Foles or Case Keenum, I am taking that Case Keenum 100%. If it's
Wow.
Nick Foles against Keenum, I will take that any day of the week. But nonetheless,
here it comes.
Case Keenum.
There's
still
always a but. It's
has-
like that statement. It's like you can say the nice thing in the world, but when it's followed by a but, it basically just throws it all out the window.
He still has to make it happen, right? So I don't see us running the ball. I don't see them moving the ball at all. So it's going to come down to Case Keenum throwing a touchdown.
Which
If
he'll
he
probably
throws
do.
one
He'll be
touch-
efficient. He'll move the ball downfield, and it's not like the running game doesn't have to average 5 yards a carry. All they have to do is convert the short yardage situations when we need them, and then have just move the clock. You can't have negative runs, but as long as you're moving the ball and you're going forward, we'll be fine. Like I said, we can win if we run for 80 yards as long as
I agree. I think we're going to have to. Like I said,
So what are your predictions? You're starting to. I thought you were a lot more confident until we started having this conversation. Now I kind of feel like
No. I'm confident. Like I said, I'm confident.
So what's going to happen?
I'm confident because I think it's going to end up being Foles having to beat Keenum, and I think Keenum is better than Foles. I'm just saying that it's going to come down to Keenum.
So what's your prediction on the game?
My prediction is 17-10 Vikings.
Yep, I'm with you. I'm thinking a 17-10, 17-13, 20-10, 20-13 kind of game.
Yep, I say 17-10 Vikings, and if that's the way it ends up being, Case Keenum finishes with 2 touchdowns, 225 yards, and like
a 20 for 30 performance.
Yeah, 20 for 30, and no interceptions.
Yep.
He does that. We'll win. And As long as the 10 throws that are incompletions aren't those huge throws on third down, which they haven't been all year. We've been good on third down all year long, so that shouldn't be the case. Case Keenum.
There was.
Right? What do you got for prediction, Johnny?
I got 22-10.
22-10?
Vikes. I'm not knock on wood. I was a lot more concerned about the Saints game. And yeah, just Foles does not scare me for a second.
No.
And Ajayi and Blunt, they're not going to be able to run. So yeah, 22-10. Mark it down.
Yeah, no, I like that. I think we're all kind of on the same page. That it's going to be somewhat low scoring. Although, because it's not crazy cold tomorrow, it wouldn't totally shock me if things go a little bit weird and you end up with one of those. Case Keenum's done it before where he's put up 35. He's just been hot all game long. If that happens, then it's a Vikings walkaway victory because Philadelphia's not doing that to us.
Yeah, if we get up early, it's over.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like if we get up, if we have a 17-0
But we said that
lead,
last week.
Yeah,
But
it's we did say it last week, but again, there was a couple things that are very uncharacteristic from the Vikings' perspective that kind of went down. But again, we're not playing Drew Brees.
exactly.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, Drew Brees can do things that nobody else on earth can. Where
Or
Nick
Michael
Foles-
Thomas or Alvin Kamara.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's true. Let's move a little bit. One thing that's been irritating me all week long when it comes to
My writing?
When it comes no, that's the opposite.
Nice.
Johnny's writing makes me very happy.
Good shit.
What's been irritating me is I've been hearing so much about the Eagles defense and mostly about Fletcher Cox, some douchebag Eagles fan.
I thought you were talking about him.
called into the Common Man program, and whoever was screening calls let him on the air, and he just went all East Coast fan on the bit and was like, he got on and he goes, "This is the first time I've ever listened to your guys' radio station." He goes, "Do Minnesotans actually listen to this garbage?" And he's listening to Common out of all the shows to catch when you turn it on.
Yeah, the biggest troll on earth. It's like, if you've never listened to him, you would probably look there going, "Who is this guy? How does he have his show?" You don't realize he's just trolling you the entire time. Joke's on you, buddy.
And so he just goes off the whole time, and Common just lets him talk, and he's going, "Fletcher Cox this, and you're not going to be able to do that on Fletcher Cox, and you're going to be sucking Fletcher Cox," and pretty much just going off, and Common lets him finish, and then Common tried to go back in, but the guy was so East Coast and Philly that he wouldn't even let Common talk, so eventually he had to cut him off the line. But it was just the epitome of how much these Eagle fans just love Fletcher's Cox. They love him. Every time you hear their defense, they all want to talk about Fletcher Cox, but they forget that we have a D tackle that's better than Fletcher Cox.
This is the most times the word Cox has been ever said in the
And Eric seems to be enjoying it.
He does.
Bit.
It's making it wiggle over there a little bit.
I think my mouth is just. Do you notice it like just trying to almost wrap itself around my microphone?
You got it all the way around right now. I didn't know your mouth is so big.
That's what she said.
Oh, speaking of a mic, goes down. You're over here sucking your mic off, and you're over here
got too jacked up.
grasping your mic.
I just kicked Johnny's microphone right off the table.
But no, I still don't understand. To your point, yes, and Fletcher Cox he's a hell of a player.
Yep,
but
agreed.
Linval Joseph is the best or second best or top 3 nose tackle in the entire league on the best defense in the entire league, and yet nobody wants to speak about our defense yet. Johnny and I were talking off air, and I was looking at the top 10 remaining players or something like that, some stupid article that some uninformed individual wrote. Right. They've got 4 Jacksonville defensive backs on the list, and no Xavier Rhodes. I'm like, are you kidding me? We're going to call, there's Jalen Ramsey, there's A.J. Boye, and there's Harrison Smith did make the list, but Xavier Rhodes didn't. Obviously, Linval Joseph, they've never heard of. He wasn't on there. It's like
they couldn't put 2 Vikings on there.
They did put Everson. They put Harrison on there.
Okay, all right.
So I mean, there's that. But then it's like, how do you include both those cornerbacks and not Xavier Rhodes?
Well, and the funny thing is that it is literally a Minnesota thing. if those 4 players were having the exact same season
Anywhere
for
else?
the exact same coach in the exact same situation for a different logo on their helmet, like a New York Giants
if it was
logo,
anywhere East Coast, because East Coast, New York, Philadelphia, even
then every single
Patriots,
defensive player on our team
they've
would
got
be,
this big
would be
bubble
there.
around them that they're the only place in the entire world that exists. The rest of the United States doesn't matter in their eyes. It's
If Xavier
ESPN.
was in New York, they'd be going Revis Island 2.0.
Oh, my God.
They'd be loving it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep, and everybody would be talking about him, and every single list that came out, it wouldn't be like you remember when Revis was in his prime. Anytime an all-time corner or best in the league corner like list came out, you were always looking to see if he was 1 or if he was 2.
Yep.
Right? But there was no difference. Like it was either 1 or 2.
It was
or
so
nothing
bad that
else.
if he did get burned, there was an excuse for it.
Right.
There was a built-in excuse. It wasn't
Yes.
his fault. There was a breakdown from somebody else in the defense.
Right, but now it's like with Xavier Rhodes, you have to wonder if he's even going to be on a top 5.
He's usually not on the list.
And it's just such trash just because it's Minnesota. And then you wonder, like, these national media outlets like to talk about, well, will he want to play in a smaller market like that? It's like, it's your fault that these players think about not playing in smaller markets. If you would talk about them, if you would include them on all pro lists that they should be on anyways, then maybe they wouldn't mind playing for a small market, but they know that they have to play for New York or Los Angeles to be a shoo-in for these awards.
But why are we considered such a small market when we're still like the 13th biggest market in the U.S.?
Because if you're not LA and you're not New York,
or
then you're a
Chicago,
small
maybe.
market.
Yep.
Right.
Even I would even argue that if it weren't for like the Bears like name, they would be calling Chicago small market
Probably.
too.
Yep.
But you had the Bulls with MJ.
Well, and then the Cubs have a following like crazy
Now
too.
the Blackhawks got how many
Yeah.
cups?
But again, I think that those are like because of the following, not necessarily because like they're almost forced to. You know what I mean?
Well,
because their followings are so nationwide.
They'll put 2 teams in LA and they can't get more than 10,000 people
Yeah.
to attend both games combined. But
Right.
yeah, they'll stick as many teams there and they'll cover the Rams. And I mean, look at the Rams; they were getting so much love this year; it's ridiculous.
And nobody likes the Rams. St.
Nobody
Louis didn't
cares.
like them. Nobody in Los Angeles likes them now.
LA still doesn't care.
And LA still doesn't care about any other teams that would be coming. The only move that makes sense is the Raiders to
Raiders
Las
LA.
Vegas.
Well, or if the Raiders actually went back to LA because they have a hell of a following there.
Oh yeah, for sure. But I mean, just from the NFL standpoint, like you have the chance to move like the dirtiest, grungiest,
Right.
to the dirtiest city,
Like
to
A
Sin
match
City.
made in heaven.
Yes,
Yeah.
the
Gruden
Raiders
leading the
yes.
charge.
Yes, yes,
That'll be good TV.
Yeah, the Raiders are meant for Las Vegas. It's almost sad that they haven't been there their entire franchise.
Well, Oakland kind of fits them too, though.
That's true.
Yeah.
That is true. I suppose that's how
Oakland
they got their
fits
name.
them real
but-
well. And
Yeah.
so did Ice Cube in LA.
We touched a little bit on how important Case Keenum is going to be, and we talked about the running game and how I don't really necessarily expect the running game to really do that much. Do you guys disagree with me? Do you see the running game maybe
I see the running
showing
game
a spark?
I see kind of doing what it's been doing. It's going to complement the passing game, and we're going to have a balanced offense like we have. We're going to convert when we need to, kind of thing. It's going to be good enough to keep Philadelphia honest, and that's what we've done all year long. That's what Shermer's been so great at for almost these last 2 years. Really, is just keeping everybody honest and having a balance on both sides. And I don't see that changing.
No, that's true, and I can go and look at the game, but I feel like they didn't run the ball that much at all against the Saints. Am I wrong there, or am I just remembering improperly? But I just don't remember them handing the ball off that often.
The first half we were rolling.
First
I think
half
a
we were
little bit,
rolling, yeah. First half I thought we were fine. Second half we weren't in control the whole time. We were on our heels. We were reacting to what the Saints were doing. You know, again, that interception, the blocked punt. It felt like the second half, it really just kind of felt like the Saints had possession of the ball the entire time.
Right.
Well, and they pretty much did.
Exactly.
They pretty much did. Yeah, no, that was
But Latavius also had that 12-yard or 15-yard scamper that got called back, and I think a hold from Thielen. So I mean,
Yes, the whole.
yep. So you take that, and all of a sudden, and he still got in the end zone, had his rushing touchdown, I think, right after that in the same drive. But you take that, and all of a sudden it kind of looks like we were more effective. But I don't know. Bring up the stats. What do we have for rushing yards? I mean, where do we compare? In comparison to what the Saints put up.
I can check that for you.
You
I
got
got
some
it right
technology
here.
over there. Let's get some. Let's get a box score up.
I might have some stats.
See those multitasking skills.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Total yards, turnovers. We don't want possession. We want team stats. Here we go. All right. Passing yards, rushing attempts, rush per yard. We had 3.3 rushing. We ran it 29 times.
For how many yards?
Under 100.
95.
See, if we do that again, we'll be just fine.
Oh, yeah.
What do we have for passing yards? How did Case compare to Drew Brees?
308 to 278, but he had
61 on the last play.
Well, on the last play, but then he had 80.
On the last
80
drive,
on
yeah.
the last
Yeah,
drive.
well, hey, yards are yards.
Well, I mean, even without that, he still goes for 225 if he gets rid of the interception.
Yeah.
And goes 225 for, what did he have, 1 touchdown? 2 touchdowns.
And to answer your earlier question about the rushing, where you're looking up Case's touchdowns, yeah, I don't think whether we rush for 50 yards, I still like our odds to win the game as long as we don't shoot ourselves in the foot and
Yeah,
give
you just-
Foles and the Eagles a short field to work with.
You can't turn the ball over. You
Exactly.
got to be efficient. You got to convert on third downs. Win the field position battle like we have for most of the year. Because again, if we're pitting them inside their 20, Foles isn't going to put together these long, extensive, massive drives where he's got to succeed and beat coverage and things like that. So
Nick Foles sucks.
yes, fuck that guy.
Well, no, I think that's a good point. I think field position more than even in most games. Obviously, field position with a defense like ours is important in all games, but in this game even more, knowing
Against
how
a
good
struggling
Philadelphia
quarterback.
and
Right.
a struggling quarterback, field position is going to play a huge role in this. If you can be the team that, maybe you're punting, but you're punting right next to the 50-yard line compared to punting out of your own end zone.
So who is it on the Eagles defense that has you sweating balls that we're not going to be able to run? Fletcher Cox, clearly.
Fletcher Cox, it's pretty much their entire
They're good, and they have
their
they have a
entire
rotation.
linebacking their linebacking group into their defensive linemen are some of the best in the league, especially against the run.
Exactly.
I think that if Case Keenum brings his A game and he's making confident throws, I think that not necessarily pick apart and make him look foolish, but I think that if he brings his A game, we can move the ball down the field. And if we can do that, I almost think it's one of those games where you need to establish the pass before you're able to run. Whereas normally it's vice versa. You want to establish the run, but they're going to come in ready to stop our run. If Case Keenum can go, let's say the first drive, let's say we drive for 70 yards and a touchdown. If Case Keenum can have 45 of those yards and throw the touchdown, the Eagles have to change their game plan 100%. And I don't think we're driving down the field like that to score in the first drive by running. I think
We
that
haven't
Case
all year
Keenum's
long,
gonna
though. I mean, I guess we kind of have. I don't know. I'm really not concerned. We've had good balance all year long. We go with what works. I mean, we adjust the game plan. That's a great thing about our team is both our adjustments, both offensively and defensively, had been, to use a word you guys are like, elite.
There we go.
And it's been like that all year long. Like we've just, I feel like teams are adjusting to us far more than we're adjusting to them. So therefore, again, I think we're going to come out. We're going to have our offense will look good. We'll be efficient. We'll run when we can. We'll be successful when we can. We'll pass when we can. We'll convert.
Your optimism is making me nervous.
I've never felt better. The more we speak about it, the better I feel.
Normally I'm the optimist and you're the pessimist, and I'm trying to bring you up. The fact that you're trying to bring me up makes me feel more scared almost.
Wait. It's a new day and age, though.
That's
the
just
Minneapolis
it. The
Miracle.
curse has been lifted. The curse
so
is
how
done.
many rings did the old ways?
That's
get
a
us
good
here?
point.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Hey, I'll be Mr. Pessimist if it brings us
Exactly.
rings all day long.
Yeah, it all comes down to Case of you, and you're still trying to prove everybody wrong. Even though Case has brought us to the promised land, we're the first NFC Championship game in almost 10 years. The guy is nothing
Let's
but a
go.
machine. Let's go. Jump on board. Finally, just jump on the Case train.
Hey,
The Keenum Expressway is wide open. There's an open seat right here. It's all yours. Get on board.
We've been saving it for you, man.
If getting a Case Keenum tattoo on my ass cheek is
You're doing that
enough.
in spite of everything. You're doing that because that's your penance for being wrong for the last 10 months now. Ever since August, when you said that we need to release him and sign anybody and everyone that we possibly can, and then we're at deer camp, and you're going, we need to bench him now. He's ruining the season. We got to get Teddy ready. We got to get Slaughter ready. We got to do whatever we can. Is there
No,
anybody?
not Slaughter,
Let's
Eric.
bring Jeff George in. Let's do whatever we possibly can here.
Where's
We need to do it.
Culpepper?
I would take Sam Ponder's husband right now over Case. Oh yeah, Dante Culpepper. Let's roll. Oh God, I hate that dude.
Yeah,
He's still waiting for the other shoe to drop again so he can come back and be like, I told you guys, I knew this was gonna happen.
You're right. You're right on one point. I'm
What, that
waiting
you
for
wanna
the
prove?
I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop, but it's not. It's really not the Case Keenum shoe. I'm waiting for the Minnesota shoe.
It's
to
not.
Drop.
It's over. Let it go.
God, I hope
That's
you're
more
right.
what I'm more of my concern.
Yeah,
the Minnesota shoe.
That's the only thing that I think. Because on paper, I mean, even listening to Vegas, everything. I mean, there's no reason that there's absolutely no reason that we should lose this game. We're more talented on, I think, at this point in time, both sides of the ball. Even though everybody wants to talk about how Philadelphia has such a great defense and their
I know,
defensive
it's
line
absurd.
is good.
I mean, they are good.
They
but-
are good, and their defensive line is great, and they've almost got it like a hockey shift change where they've got like three different platoons in a way. But I mean, I still take our defense over their defense any day of the week. We've got elite players at all levels. They don't. I mean,
that's two elites, man.
Yeah, that
Way
is.
to work it
that
in.
one was that one. I wasn't even planning on that. It kind of slipped out.
No, I'm with you.
But they don't have a safety like Harrison. They don't have a corner like Xavier. Maybe even our linebackers. Yeah, again, I think we have the advantage.
Yeah, I would have to agree. I think we've been going for an hour. We'll call it good. I think we went through our picks already.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We all got the Vikings winning on a somewhat close game. We're like touchdown and a field
Touchdown
goal
and a
somewhere
field goal.
in that range away.
3.5-point favorites at this moment.
Right now, ESPN dropped it to 3.
Dropped it to 3.
I don't think we're going to
Okay.
blow them out regardless. 'Cause even if we get a lead, like we're still going to have the really kind of a conservative approach. So I don't think we're planning on running away with this game because ideally, you know, if we're up 17-0, we need to start running the ball a little bit and completing short passes to keep that clock moving. But
Can't wait.
Yeah,
wait.
I can't wait either.
Won't be able to sleep tonight.
So we'll reconvene next week. After hopefully we're talking about a Vikings fucking Super
We
Bowl.
will be.
Oh my
Don't say
goodness.
hopefully. Don't say maybe. What is this bullshit? I'm
Vikings
sick of this.
Super Bowl. I just can't even
Jump
believe
on
it.
the Keenum Expressway. Let's do it.
All right, so we'll be coming back next week to talk Vikings Super Bowl. This has been Minnesota Sports Fan podcast. No shirts, just skins. I'm Eric. I've got Brandon here with me, and Johnny came and joined us. Johnny, thanks for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me. Nice to meet you, Brandon.
Absolutely, man. Been a pleasure.
Absolutely.
All right, follow us on Twitter and Facebook at RealMN Sports Fan. Johnny is at the Johnny MN.
Yes, sir.
That's where you'll find us. Go Vikes. Skol.